Ho, 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 bitches. Welcome to the Sky Lounge, and this is Piggyskin Picks, where I pick the winners and losers of the upcoming NFL week. And in week number 15, boys and girls, 12 out of 16 in the pick'em. Feel good about that shit. And we're hoping that good feeling rolls over into week 16, where, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 straight days of NFL action. Christmas Day, Friday, Boxing Day, Saturday, 27th on Sunday, and the 28th on Monday. Just a bukkake fest of football, and we're going to be glazed in all of its glory. And we start off with the Friday game between the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints. And I'm going to take the really dumbass route here and go with the fucking Vikings. Yeah. Vikings at plus 6.5, under 51. Why would you pick the Vikings, son? I have no fucking idea. Because by all accounts, Drew Brees is back. Yes, the Saints lost to the Chiefs, but by all means, I mean, Brees is playing great. Everything's nice for the Saints. They're the better team, right? Unless you forget that Sean Payton is an arrogant ass. And yeah, his ego, I believe, is going to backfire in this game and cost the Saints to win. And from that, I think the Vikings kind of lucked themselves into a win, but a win is a win is a win. And that is my humble opinion based on watching a lot of Saints games this season because they were televised everywhere. We had to watch a lot of Saints games over any televised Seahawks game because broadcast programming and region shit. But all that salt aside, I don't buy into the Saints team. This team looks as though they're the NFC equivalent of the Steelers. And the same narratives that are persisting about the Steelers, first round exit, not built for the playoffs. I could argue the same thing about the Steelers, the Saints. Yes, start with the letter S and very similar in that regard. But I do believe the Vikings grab a win. But then we move on into Saturday, boys and girls, where we not only have just one game, we have not only 2 games, we have 3 games on Saturday night. And the first game starts off between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Detroit Lions. And I think the Buccaneers cover the -10 spread. The game goes under at 54. And yeah, there's not much to say about this Lions team other than Bevel's out with the Kung Flu shit. And are you going to get the same hoopla energy as when Patricia left? Because I don't really know if that's going to happen. If it does, good for you, Lions and Lions fans, and something to cheer on for on Boxing Day. But what's the point? What's the fucking point when there's just this persistent repetition of just mediocrity over, I don't know, 60 plus years? How many years has it been now? 70, 80? Huh? Am I just being a dick? No. The Lions are just a walking history book of mediocrity, and you can point out each and every time why they're just so fucking awful. And no fans deserve that shit. They don't. But we all know how this story is going to end on Saturday between the Bucs and the Lions. Tom Brady's going to do some magical shit with, the 2017 Pro Bowl roster and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, or the Tom Brady Buccaneers. And a lot of, easy narratives going to persist about, oh, Brady's still the best. Belichick lost the divorce. That's a stupid fucking take if I ever heard one. But Bucks grab a win there, and we move on into our second game on Saturday, which is going to be between the San Francisco 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals. It's like, I'm going to butcher the word San Francisco there because the city doesn't exist. Come on, guys. The very fact that the 49ers are playing home games in Arizona just tells you how much of a clusterfuck the season has been. But it's just curious that there's no real home team in this game between the Cardinals and the 49ers. So between the Phoenix 49ers and the Arizona Cardinals, I got to think the Cardinals cover the spread at -5, win the game outright, and cover that fucking under at 48.5 for both teams, I suppose. But, a lot has to be said about this 49ers team and how much injuries and other bullshit really hamper their season. But simultaneously, there are certain pieces along this team where you got to think, is this really the right option for the future? Jimmy Garoppolo is a perfect example in my eyes. Like, well, you paid him a lot of fucking money, and he's just a bang average quarterback. And Nick Mullins is basically doing the same fucking thing. So, where do you go from there, 49ers? So, a lot of soul searching for the 49ers, who the Seahawks will be seeing in Week 17. So, I hope we beat the shit out of you motherfuckers in the Rams, which we will talk about here in a bit. But I do believe the Cardinals grab a win in this game and keep their playoff hopes alive. And finally, the last game on the Saturday slate is between the Miami Dolphins and the Las Vegas Raiders. And I got to tell you, I think the Miami Dolphins will cover the -3 spread. The game goes over at 47.5. And yes, the Miami Dolphins outright beat the shit out of the Raiders, because this Raiders team, what's the best way to say this about the Raiders team without getting you motherfuckers panties in a bunch? Your team just sucks. Cool, you got Marcus Mariota down there. Fantastic. You just kind of move laterally from Derek Carr, maybe slightly above, but marginal difference at best. And you just really start wondering, what's missing with this Raiders team? I mean, especially when you look on defense, what is missing? I mean, is it the corner? Is it the safety? Is it linebacker? Or is it all of the above? I would just say, hey, strengthen your depth, because all throughout the last few weeks, we've seen how injuries obviously have hampered the Raiders, but simultaneously, just kind of this lackadaisical nature of how they handle and try to close out games, it's backfired on them significantly. And of course, I'm basing my assessment on highlights and, box scores and stats. And of course, there are going to be Raiders fans who are going to get in depth with that shit and talk about how there are growing problems and it's all over. But certainly, the defense just coughing up 27 some odd points each game, it doesn't help. So in my mind, I think the Miami Dolphins, as kind of subpar as they've kind of been, I think this should really cement Brian Flores into a postseason appearance. I think this is the game where Miami wins, they mark themselves into the playoffs, and they should be a very, very interesting team moving forward into the postseason. Now, while we move forward into Sunday games, let's talk about a very interesting matchup between the New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. When I say interesting, it's just because it just feels like it's a one-sided game, yet it's one of those classic trap games, right? But I would still say the Baltimore Ravens will cover the -10 spread, and the game goes over at 43.5. And I got to tell you, man, if Freddie Kitchens is still the goddamn offensive coordinator for the Giants, give the fucking W to Baltimore right now. Just give it to them right now. Because Freddie Kitchens is ass. I don't know about Jason Garrett, to be quite honest. He might be just bang average, but Freddie Kitchens is ass. And man, oh man, if that dude is still your offensive coordinator with the Giants, the Baltimore defense is going to have a fucking field day, man. And I don't know how well Lamar's going to do, to be quite honest. Maybe he has that little bit of confidence coming from Week 15, but we'll see. This Giants defense is pretty formidable, and you would begin to think that maybe they're catching up. I mean, the entire NFL catching up to Lamar Jackson and his kind of mysterious ways of evading the pocket and making runs look so sexy and beautiful. But life in the NFL kicks you in the dick very hard, especially if you are a running quarterback. I mean, they'll fuck you up. But yeah, still think Baltimore's going to win that game. Now, moving on to the next game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Houston Texans, and the Bengals coming off of that huge momentum-boosting win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, although they have really nothing to play for. Yet, I think despite the Cincinnati Bengals covering the plus 7.5 spread, I gotta think the Houston Texans win this game, and the game goes under 45.5. Why do I think that? I don't know what to really make of that Bengals team, man. I really don't. I don't really know what to make of this Houston team either. This just looks like one of those like classic 2-3 point different games where the better quarterback in the end probably wins the game, and I'm looking at Deshaun Watson. Yet, I mean, if you're a Texans fan, what good does a win do here for you? Right? So you would think both coaching staff probably goes for a tie. I mean, that'd be fucking incredible if the Cincinnati Bengals get 2 ties in a season. But I believe the Houston Texans grab a win in that game. Now, moving on into the next game between the Chicago Bears and the Jacksonville Jaguars. You already know what this game's all about. Come on, boys and girls. For Matt Nagy and the Chicago Bears, this should be a free win. Because the Jacksonville Jaguars, due to the complete butt fumble incompetence of the New York fucking Jets, are now slated to receive the number 1 overall pick in Trevor Lawrence. So they know damn well they just have to lose and lose well. And I think the Chicago Bears, they're riding all this false momentum. That's just me based on what I've seen with the Chicago Bears team, who is just one of the most underwhelming motherfucking teams out there in the NFL right now, right next to the Steelers. But I think based on what the Jacksonville Jaguars are right now, I do believe the Bears come out with a win, but the Jaguars probably cover that plus 7.5 spread, and the game goes under at 47. And dear fucking God, you can imagine a game like 13-10 between these two fucking soft story franchises. But yeah, I don't know what the Bears are going to do from this point on. I mean, if you luck yourselves into the playoffs, fantastic. What are you going to do from there? Get your asses kicked in the first round and just fool yourselves into thinking Mitch Trubisky, Big Dick Nick's going to work for the long-term future? Okay, all right. Whereas the Jacksonville Jaguars, if you lose, the Trevor Lawrence brigade, baby! It's time. It's time. Trevor is a much, much better prospect to go to Jacksonville rather than the Jets, who have shown nothing but incompetence. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, if you finesse yourself into this number 1 overall pick and you fire Doug Marrone, boy, oh boy, you have a bright future ahead of you. And I hope that happens to your franchise. Now, moving on into a disaster franchise who just never seems to get anything right. The Atlanta Falcons will be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And as shaky as the Chiefs have been, I do not doubt they're going to win this game. I do think the Chiefs are going to cover that minus 10.5 spread. Bit shaky on that number, but overall, you gotta think the fucking Falcons will do everything in their power to choke away whatever semblance or hope of a lead they have in this game to the Chiefs. And yeah, this is just a miserable pile of shit team in the Atlanta Falcons, and I have no sympathy, no time for it. How many goddamn games have you blown with over 96 on average, like 97% on average fucking success rate shit? It's unreal. It's absolutely unreal. And the level of incompetence and the level of lacking of accountability in this Falcons team is laughable, deplorable, and disgusting. For God's sakes, free Julio Jones and free Young Hoku, for the love of God. And yet, drown with Matt Ryan for all I care. Oh, MVP. He's not worth shit. Not anymore. He's going to go the route of Cam Newton, but in a more tragic way. So have fun thinking that Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley is going to get you through the goddamn playoffs one of these days. Most retarded shit I ever heard. But for the Chiefs, yeah, you guys have been really underwhelming, but I don't doubt Reed, Mahomes, and this just stacked squad, man. What the fuck can you say about this Chiefs team? They're set to go for another goddamn Super Bowl run. Damn, man. They might seriously just go 15-1 this season. They're that good. They're that good. But you stupid motherfuckers were on that goddamn Steelers hype train all season long, where your boy was calling those bitches out. I was calling those bitches out for a long time. Yet what happened? I'm the asshole, right? what's been going on over the last 3 weeks? Steelers have been going on a 3-game losing slide while Juju does the TikTok dance. Boop, 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 boop. And it's like, okay, cool, man. Is that dance going to help you guys win, gain more yards, or maybe Juju have you go anything over 100 fucking yards a game? Eh? Surprise! Not! And this week, the Steelers will be hosting the Indianapolis Colts. And I'm going to tell you right now, kids, the Colts, I think they're going to thoroughly embarrass the Steelers. I think the Steelers, for whatever reason, they're going to think, oh, we have a tough team to face that we're going to play out. So you have all this fucking hoopla about Juju not doing TikTok dances anymore, but simultaneously, you got to think, okay, you're brushing off this nonchalant, lackadaisical attitude now, but it's almost as though you're thinking, oh, we could just brush things off and get back to normal in the 11-0 pace when we faced all these shitty teams. The Colts are really good. -1.5 spread. Love that for the Colts. Also like that 44.5 on the over. Because why? I think this defense for the Colts is going to make Ben Roethlisberger, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Chase Claypool eat a bag of fucking crows, man. These cats have been unbelievably arrogant and dickish all throughout the season, and every team just wants a piece of them. They're on a downward trajectory, and you have the Indianapolis Colts this week, and you got the Cleveland Browns next week, and I can't fucking wait when the Cleveland Browns take that AFC North Division title right from under your noses. It's going to be a beautiful affair. I'm going to be wearing my Shake and Bake Baker Mayfield t-shirt. I'm going to be a little salty cunt about it in week 17, and let's see where things go from there, boys and girls. It's full of salt. That's why I'm so fat and full of fucking tits. You know what's also full of tits? The Washington Redskins. Yes. And I'm definitely talking about Dwayne Haskins, and it's just general stupidity of going to strip clubs in the middle of a stupid pandemic. But, yeah, Dwayne Haskins is an idiot. He had his captaincy stripped, and now you have a very interesting matchup here, right? The Carolina Panthers and the Washington Redskins. Ron Rivera facing his old team. And you can definitely imagine someone like Kyle Allen, if I'm not mistaken with the Allen there, for the Washington Redskins becoming the starting quarterback with Alex Smith kind of sidelined with the injury there. And I got to think the Washington Redskins win this game. Cover that -1 spread and the under at 41.5. Mainly because I just do not trust Teddy Bridgewater. I don't. And it's unfortunate because I thought for a while, especially in the early parts of the season, that, yeah, Carolina had some shit going, but obviously, CMC going down never helped, and despite how really young and vivacious this defense has been, shout out to Jeremy Chin, who, that Pro Bowl snub is ridiculous, and I hope the fucking All-Pro committee gets that shit right and puts Jeremy Chin in there. I've been singing this kid's fucking praise all goddamn season long, and I hope he gets some recognition because this dude is a special, special talent on defense. And yeah, despite being a close game, I do really think the Panthers, just narrowly miss out on a win here against the Redskins. And yeah, I mean, good for Rivera, man. I mean, you're battling cancer all throughout the season. I do believe they said he's going through a remission, if I'm not mistaken. But seems like a good man. And if he can get this fucking dumpster fire shit team into the playoffs, I got nothing but respect for the guy. I got nothing but respect for the guy. And I certainly disagreed with Ron Rivera with what he was doing in the Carolina Panthers. And I certainly have said many times where I don't think he was right to carry on in that team. And I still stand by it. But in this Redskins team, he's kind of rejuvenated and his squad believes him. And shout out to Chase Young, dude. Oh my God, what a monster. What an absolute fucking monster. That dude is going to wreck up Teddy Bridgewater come Sunday, and that should be a very interesting game. Now, we got another very interesting game between the Denver Broncos and the LA Chargers on Sunday. And you know what? I think the Chargers win this game, cover the -3 spread, and the game goes under 49, mainly because I think Justin Herbert, as much as, again, I'm eating crow for everything wrong I can possibly said, and I can kind of remember on the spot, but I recall at the early parts of the season saying Justin Herbert was going to be a bust. He's going to suck. And you know what? At this point, I'm eating a whole bag of shit right now because Justin Herbert has had an unbelievable rookie season. Of course, you can argue the weapons around him has been fantastic. Keenan Allen has just been unbelievable this season. And a lot of the offensive talents and the O-line has especially helped Justin Herbert in this young life of his in the NFL. Yet, I do believe Anthony Lynn is holding this team back. Yes. And yeah, it's just interesting to see this Chargers team just kind of grow throughout the season. And compare to what this Denver Broncos team is going through. I mean, a bevy of injuries to start the season. And you've just been getting your ass kicked over the last few weeks where you've had some semblance of playoff hope and now that just kind of extinguished itself and almost died. And I think this is going to be the final nail in the coffin. I think the Chargers are going to grab a nice win here. I would say probably by 6 or 7 points, just my imagination. And I say all this, but at the back of my head, I also know that the Chargers, with their fucking luck in history, they might lose on a field goal. That shit happens, man. I mean, there are certain franchises, you know the depression and the fucking inevitable heartbreak is coming from a mile away. And you know what, man? Can I take some fucking kudos? Can I take some goddamn credit for saying the Jets weren't going to get the number 1 overall pick since, I don't know, September? I've been saying this shit for a while now. I've been saying this shit for a while that the Jets were going to butt fumble this fucking pick, this number 1 overall pick. Because why? Because they're the Jets. You beat the Rams. Why? Why did you even need to beat them? For an ego trip, Adam Gase, you fucking idiot? I mean, for Sam Darnold, I get it. You don't want to fucking completely devalue yourself. But boy, oh boy, I mean, the way the Jets have just spiraled out of control. And you've seen it. You've seen it coming. For the last 3 weeks, they were battling each and every game they were losing. Nobody was watching these Jets games except maybe gamblers and idiots like me that are saying, the Jets only lost by 2-3 points. Are you serious? What the fuck is this? And you knew the butt fumble was coming in this regard of fucking up the number 1 overall pick. And the Jets, you honestly have nothing to play for anymore. And you're going against a Browns team who, if they win outright, and all things considered, if the Steelers, I fucking hope, the Steelers lose the last 2 games of the season, Browns are going to win the division. And I truly do believe the Browns are going to win this game, win Week 17 against Steelers. I'm going to fucking lay that shit down right now. The Browns are going to win back-to-back games, and they're going to win the AFC North. They're going to win the division title for the first time since 1989. I believe that shit is going to happen. And the Browns, minus 9.5, over 47.5, looking pretty nice. The Jets, yeah, man, have fun flipping guys for assets all off season and creating another fucking cantankerous locker room situation and just more chemistry issues, which you haven't addressed at all. The very fact that you have Adam Gase is already just a disaster in my eyes, but the Jets will roll on into the number 2 overall pick. But moving on to the next game, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And you know what? I like the Eagles to cover the minus 2.5 spread, win the game, and the game goes under at 49.5. The Cowboys fans really understand how bad their defense is. I understand Aldon Smith has been amazing. He really has been. I mean, we're not taking anything away from that. But within the relative mediocrity and just this kind of dysentery nature of the Dallas Cowboys offense, you really think you're going to stand any chance against this Philadelphia Eagles team that has rejuvenated themselves with Jalen Hurts, really? But Jalen Hurts doesn't play defense. Dude, Jalen Hurts playing as quarterback and that leadership position, that shit trickles down to everybody. Defense has been playing lights out, relatively speaking. I mean, even that Arizona Cardinals game, the Eagles were fighting every single step of the way. You don't really see that with Wentz. I mean, and this Eagles team, look out, Redskins. I mean, you really got to be careful with this team now because this Eagles team, I'm telling you, I've been saying, man, if they fucking win the division, they might just win it at 6-9-1. It could potentially happen. And you would imagine this Cowboys team, not sure why the ego set in for Jerry and Mike McCarthy to try to win games, but if you kept losing games, you would have at least gotten, I don't know, a solid top quarterback prospect or a fucking offensive line. Like Penny O'Sul, is that the kid? The fucking O-line prospect who's supposed to be just outstanding. But no, I mean, you continually fuck yourselves up. And you did the same fucking thing the goddamn Falcons did last season and this season. Keep fucking up your goddamn draft pick. But that's the Cowboys. They'll always go through some stupid-ass identity crisis, but I believe the Eagles grab a win there. And now moving on into the final afternoon game. And yes, you know we got to talk about this. The LA Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And I believe the Seahawks are going to win and cover the -1 spread. And the game goes over 47.5. And you know, it's funny. So I made a video on the channel taunting the Rams fans. And I got to admit, I got a really good kick out of it. Because, I mean, first of all, you're laying the, track of ODB on some shit you're just trying to rouse some fan base with. And it worked. And I'm not going to lie to you. If the Seahawks lose this game, I'm going to eat a bunch of fucking crow. I will admit to all being wrong. I will make fun of myself. I do that a lot. But I just get this feeling between the Seahawks defense playing really well over the last few weeks, over the course of the last few weeks, and I get it, they've been playing kind of less than average offenses, but with the rhythm this team is getting into now, the only real worry for me is Russ. And yeah, it's a weird double-edged sword because Russ is the reason why we win this game, but Russ is also the reason why we could potentially lose these games. Strange, but that's how it works. And I think it really comes down to this whole notion of let Russ cook. And I get it. I understood the frustration of Seahawks fans for a long time. But situationally, if you look at every single one of these fucking problems or scenarios where we had to let Russ cook, if we mix things up a little bit with the run game, can we maybe see a dip or a lower number with the Russell Wilson interception? Fuck, I don't know. Maybe. But in my eyes, the key to winning this game against the Rams is the run game. Because guess what? The Rams, they got a pretty impressive run game. I'll be honest, that run game is pretty fantastic, all things considered. My only gripe with the Rams is Jared Goff. He sucks. I don't want to hear anything else about this shit anymore. He sucks. He's a mediocre, bang average quarterback who got overpaid to an insane amount of money. And I get it. Within the realm of the NFL right now, you got to pay the quarterback or lose him for nothing. But weirdly enough, it's curious because if you're not that level of insane talent like Russ or Mahomes or Rodgers or hell, I mean I'm gonna put Kyler Murray up there, right? You don't really deserve that money, okay? And I get it. There's all these excuses. There's contracts. There's agents. There's all these things in play, but when you're just talking about straight fucking value and how you do and the situations, pressure situations, how you act, man, oh man, I'm not giving Jared Goff any fucking money. But Kroenke's an idiot. And being an Arsenal fan, I know that fully. And because you have invested all this goddamn money and all this hope into Jared Goff, I think that's where shit is going to break down in this game, in my eyes. I got to hope and I got to think. Guys like Carlos Dunlap is just chomping at the bits to get at Jared Goff. And the way Aaron Donald gets at Russ, I really hope Carlos, Mayoa, a lot of those guys on D, I mean, even Shaquem gets on Jared. I'm really looking forward to a 3-5 sack game, but it's going to end in a tie, isn't it? This game's going to end in like a 24-24 tie. And I'm going to hate it. I'm going to fucking hate it. But go Hawks. Should be a great game regardless. And again, boys and girls, if you watch that Rams video, you're salty about it, I'm not apologizing. But what I am going to do, again, if the Seahawks lose, I will make a meme video, including myself as the loser, and we'll go from there. And if the Seahawks win, well, you're going to see a real toxic bitch. So take that for what it is. Now, let's talk about Sunday Night Football between the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers. And you know what? I got the Titans winning this game, covering the +3 spread, and the game goes under at 56. Are you doubting King Henry again? Are you doubting him against a man like Jair Alexander, who admittedly has been pretty phenomenal this season? But, you know, the more you doubt this Titans team, the more they fucking punch you in the mouth harder and more brutal than before. And so I will tell you right now, kids, don't sleep on this Titans team. Don't overvalue the Packers either. Because, mark my words, Titans, they're going to beat the shit out of the Packers. And watch me be wrong on that goddamn pick. Within the first quarter. That'd be fucking annoying. It's happened before. It's happened plenty of times. I could eat crow on that shit any day. It is just my opinions in football. But it's a beautiful thing. But what's also going to be a beautiful thing, it's going to be Monday Night Football, where we see the final stomping, the final destruction of the dynasty that was the New England Patriots, where the Buffalo Bills will take on the New England Patriots in New England. Buffalo, -7, under 46. Yeah, seems right. Seems right. The Patriots is over. They're done. The Brady-Belichick era, it's over. What comes next, we don't know. But certainly it was a wild ride. And I think for me, Belichick definitely deserves another season with the Patriots. I don't know if Rob Kraft is going to get all up in his ego and just let go of Belichick, but you need to keep Belichick around. I think his fingerprints are still all over this team. And I think if you give him enough assets to manage around, and especially with all the injuries that were happening and all the opt-outs, you're definitely going to see a better Patriots team. I do believe that. But the Patriots definitely need a quarterback and a whole lot more moving forward. Whereas the Bills, they're set. They're ready to go right now. They're ready to get at the Super Bowl right now. And if it's not the Chiefs, it might be the Bills or the Titans. Maybe the Browns. But the Bills, man, have been, I think, one of the most complete teams in the NFL this season, right next to right next to the Chiefs. And between the Chiefs and the Bills, I think that should really be the Super Bowl. But I think the Bills are going to really show out their quality, their class on Monday Night Football. And yeah, you're going to have that bitch Foxworth go cry all over because Josh Allen's being successful and all his white supporters are happy. God, you black supremacists, go fuck yourself. Now, having said all that, that's our picks for Week 16, boys and girls. So from the top, we got the Minnesota Vikings, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Arizona Cardinals, the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, the Chicago Bears, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Indianapolis Colts, the Washington Redskins, the LA Chargers, the Cleveland Browns, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks, the Tennessee Titans, and the Buffalo Bills. And we're hoping the pick'em's pretty high, just like last week. And what I'm probably going to be by the end of the day, or the beginning of the day. Who the fuck knows, boys and girls? But hey, ho, 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 bitch, bitch, bitch. That's all for me. So go ahead and follow me at the Sky Lounge on all the links in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe for more daily contents. Till next time, boys and girls. Fuck off. Happy Christmas and happy holidays. But seriously, fuck off.